but he's a young man with lots of potential. Let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. And the age difference jumps right out with Shigaev a decade younger than Callaway. The height and reach very similar. At yesterday's weigh-in, Shigaev a career high 232 and a half. Callaway at 214. And the key Michigan rules for this non-title affair. The standing 8 count is in effect. We don't see that very often. 3 knockdown rule also in effect. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt comes before the end of the 5th round, the fighters rule the technical draw. If it occurs after the end of round 5, they go to the scorecards. So here at Cobo Center, just next to Cobo Hall, the former longtime home of the Detroit Pistons, we're getting ready for Ruslan Chagaev versus Rob Calloway, heavyweight scheduled for 10. Let's get the formal introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Cobo Center here in the Motor City of Detroit, Michigan, as we have a big night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by Vlad Wharton's Millennium Events in association with All World International Network, Knockout Entertainment, and Showtime. The judges scoring this bout for this first of our featured attractions at ringside, we have from Livonia, Michigan, Frank Barbarich. From Detroit, Randy Erickson, and from Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Charles McHenry. Our third man to the ring, our referee in charge, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Ron Cunningham. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing with the big boys in action, heavyweights in the ring. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing white trunks with red and blue trim, hailing from St. Joseph, Missouri. He weighed in at a ready 214 pounds. His record stands at 41 wins, 3 losses, 3 no decisions, with 31 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is known as the All-American prize fighter. Introducing Rob Calloway. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner, this 10-round attraction, entering the ring wearing black trunks, hailing from Andijan, Uzbekistan, now residing in Las Vegas, Nevada. His weight 232.5 pounds. He is a former amateur world champion, undefeated in his young campaign in the professional ranks, with a record of 5 wins, no losses, 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing the undefeated Ruslan Chagaev. And once again, our referee in charge, Ron Cunningham, now to give instructions. 10 rounds of boxing schedule.
Okay, we went over the instructions in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. When you guys hear me say break, step back, protect yourself at all times, okay? Anything here and up is good. Here, below, it's low. Yours is right on there. Anything on the belt or the trunks is low. Okay? We understood? Okay, touch them up, guys. Good luck to both of you.
Shigaev trained by former Olympic coach Ken Adams. He is a young, legitimate prospect, but still has some question marks. A southpaw with a walk-up approach who needs to take more advantage of his style. Meanwhile, Rob Calloway, a straight-up kind of a fighter, nothing cute, stands in there, pretty good jab and straight right. Strong but not a big puncher. Shigaev will look to cut off the ring, he told us, and go to the body, step around and use the angles. The questions, can Callaway handle the southpaw style and the power of Shigaev? Callaway is 0-2 against left-handers, 3 losses in 44 fights, all on points. He's been down 1 time. Some of the questions about Shigaev, Bobby, he just sometimes stands too squared up. He tries to take you out with 1 shot rather than varying his punches. He relies a little too heavily on that straight left.
You know, as I said, when I was watching the tapes of his fights, I didn't see Shigaev as a real one-punch knockout artist. He works his way in, he plods in, he can move back into the side when he has to, although there's not a lot of side-to-side movement. He comes straight forward, looking to bang.
Yeah, he is a solid puncher with a big left hand. We're just not sure how hard he punches based on his last fight, but he's always coming forward. He hits with conviction, but he has to work the body more, improve his defense. He does get hit a lot, and he needs to listen more intently to Ken Adams.
Kenny Adams, his trainer, maintained that the reason he didn't knock Isaac out was that he didn't pay attention. He just headhunted, didn't work the body, and Isaac got away.
The Uzbeks are studying English but still have a ways to go. Kenny Adams has developed a special numbers code for between rounds with Shigaev and later Abdullayev. Certain signals correspond to prearranged instructions. Also, of course, the boxers speak the universal language of boxing.
Right now, I think Shigaev's waiting a little too much on Callaway, who's moving quite a bit, using his jab, a couple right hands, but a lot of foot movement. He's staying out of the way of the power of Shigaev, and Shigaev is not stepping to him quickly enough and getting off in the punches.
Bobby Callaway told us the key for him will be the jab and his foot movement. Shigaev with a fusillade of punches there.
Not a lot landed well, though, Steve. You saw Callaway duck under a few, and you see him countering back. Not bad.
Does Callaway need to step with the jab to be more effective rather than just idly throwing it?
Yeah, and one of the things I talked about, too, is Shigaev does not work well going backward. If he steps with the jab, he'll force Shigaev backward, and Shigaev does not fight well going backward. So that would be to his advantage, Callaway, to step with the jab.
Shigaev turns it up, but the feeling is Shigaev is a bit awkward with his feet, so Callaway's foot movement could play a role here. And while Shigaev is the puncher, Callaway feels he's the better boxer. We'll find out. Under 30 seconds left of the opening round, scheduled for 10. Shigaev does have a nice jab, a right hook and a right uppercut, but he likes to throw that straight left. That's his bread and butter punch. Final seconds of round one. A little bit more than a feeling out process for the Uzbek. One round of the books. Let's get Bobby Chez's keys to victory. Bobby?
Start with Ruslan Chagaev. Number one, be the aggressor. He does not fight that well going backward. Number two, work the body. He's going to want to slow Callaway down, who's going to be using his legs to move. And lastly, the straight left hand. As a southpaw, it's a terrific weapon, and he uses his very well. For Rob Calloway, he needs to establish his jab. This will keep Shigaev off balance and score points. Also, set the fight distance. If he can stay outside and land punches, he can win this fight. And lastly, he needs to box smart while he's outside. Move, pick his spot, stand and fight, move, fire back combinations. The only way for him to win.
Here we go. Stay down to the belt, stay down. Relax, relax. Look at the belt.
Final words of Kenny Adams to Ruslan Chagaev. As mentioned, they have certain buzzwords like relax, jab, hook, work the body, etc. I'm a big fan myself of the relax part.
Yeah, it doesn't usually bode well with fighters with the style of Shigaev.
Good straight left upstairs by Shigaev, his best offering of the night. That got Callaway's attention.
Because Callaway's always on the move, if Shigaev rests too much, he'll never catch up with Callaway.
Shigaev 5-0 with 4 knockouts, 2000 Olympian, 96 Olympian, never got past the second round. At 17, beat Cuban legend Felix Savon, one of his amateur titles taken away when it was found he had fought a professional fight or two. He's from Andijan, Uzbekistan, and now living in Las Vegas along with the main event fighter, Muhammad Abdullayev.
He mentioned that he thought the two pro fights that he fought were just sparring, and I'll tell you, when you spar without a headgear, without a shirt, and in front of a crowd, I don't know, that looks like a fight to me.
It's usually a tip-off. But you have to give them credit. Imagine uprooting to another part of the world, leaving your family and loved ones behind, and on top of that, having to learn a complete new language and adapt to a totally different culture. It is almost mind-boggling. Halfway through round 2, scheduled for 10. These are the big men. Callaway in the white with the blue and red trim, called the All-American prize fighter out of St. Joe's, Missouri.
What's your heads? What's your heads?
Shigaev at 23 in no particular hurry. There's a digging left to the neck by Shigaev.
Right now, Shigaev is getting braver and braver as he realizes that Callaway is not a big puncher, and the left hand is starting to find a home on the face. You see some of the redness and blood on the face of Callaway.
The crowd getting into it, as Shigaev does as well. Shigaev very busy for a big man. Blood streaking now down the nose of Callaway. A cut opening up. I believe near the left eye of Callaway. And things are starting to suddenly look bleak for the young man from Missouri. There's a sweeping left hook to the jaw by Shigaev.
Shigaev's working at a good rate, especially for a heavyweight. Heavyweights are not known to throw a lot of punches. Working well, very crisp, not wasting much.
Yeah, safe to say Shigaev is not what you would call a plodding, lumbering heavyweight, and he is landing regularly with those left hands. Shigaev has Callaway where he wants him now. And it's a good thing the bell rang for Callaway.
Good work. Just on the forehead. Right.
You're all right. You're all right. A little pad up above your forehead. That's all it is.
Take deep breaths in. Run.
Run.
Deep breaths
Run.
in. Just watch it. You right, brother? You got it. That's fine. Get something in.
Shigaev really turning up the heat now, landing that left hand one after another. There's the first one. There's the second one. Another one that goes over the top. Left hand starting to find a home on the face of Rob Calloway. Later, as we see the face bloody, there's the left hand coming again. Another left hand as a third lands. And we see him turning up the heat once again. Shigaev really finding a home for both of his punches.